Hey, I'm Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is a late upload. I'm uploading late just because I'm a little tired. And I know I'm here in my robe right now, but I was like, what better way to be transparent than to show up in my bed, in my robe, as I tell you I'm tired, because I really am. But I'm still committed to the journey. And I said I will upload every Monday, so here we are. Period. For everyone that's new here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you for returning to my channel. Thank you for the support, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all the engagement. Like I keep saying, I want us to build a safe community for growth and self-improvement, honesty, transparency, being closer to God. So I appreciate everybody that tunes in, okay? I really wanted to talk to you guys about pivoting. It's okay to pivot. I actually just looked up what pivot means so I can really be literal with you guys. And it's obviously a bunch of different ones. But the one that I think pertains to what I'm saying on the dictionary app: a change in policy, opinion, product design, etc., that retains some continuity with its previous version, especially as part of a strategy to appeal to a different audience. So I feel like that one resonated because when I say it's okay to pivot, you are the new audience, right? The career path, the life that you might have planned for yourself 2 to 10 years ago, right, was a completely different person. And so sometimes we have built up our lives in a way to relate to the goal that we set and the way we saw it, life just going for ourselves, right? And so when we do that, a lot of times as we age and mature and have experiences, our mind changes. So as your mind has changed, your opinion has changed, what you want changes. Sometimes the things that you've built a plan for no longer are in alignment with who you actually are. But you may have spent so much time doing this thing that it kind of feels like you're giving up on yourself or you're giving up on something that you committed to, and it kind of makes you feel like a failure or an F up, or like you just feel foolish. And then a lot of times it's hard to have that conversation with people because people will make you feel dumb. Like people will be judgy, people will have all these different opinions about the decision that you make. And it really doesn't matter what they think because a lot of things that you do won't make sense to everyone. And when God calls you to do something, a lot of times it won't make sense on the surface, but you just have to be obedient because you know that it's Him guiding you. And if you're uncomfortable in the space that you're in, it is literally okay to about face. You could have been going this way this whole time, but guess what? If it's not working anymore, it's just not working. And you have to be honest with yourself. Before you could go sit down and have a conversation with anyone, you have to have a conversation with self and really get to the nitty gritty of where you are, how you feel, what you want your life to look and feel like. If you keep going towards building a life that you planned years ago and you're not the person that you were when you planned it, so the things that that person wanted are not the things that this person today wants, you have to really reevaluate that. And I know it's hard because sometimes we have people in our lives that are just so attached to who we are, like, or who they've known us to be for so long. And then when you rediscover new versions of yourself, and this version of yourself is here to stay and that version of yourself is here to go, right? It's kind of hard because like people are so in relationship with that person that you were, and if you have a hard time reintroducing who you are, you have a hard time asserting boundaries with the new things that you've learned. But the reality is their response to your changes is not your responsibility. All you can do is hope and pray that the people that are meant to be in your life show up and that everyone doesn't go, because a lot of times people go. God be clearing house like no other. But honestly, when you're making changes, there is no telling whether change will come in your life, right? You could change your wardrobe, you could change your job, you could change how you style your hair, you could change your car, you could change where you live, how you live, your furniture. But that can also come with different changes of friend groups, changes of scenery, you know what I'm saying? Changes of who you're in a relationship with or the kind of people that you date, period. And that's just a part of growth. Like, the only thing that is guaranteed in life is change. So it is okay to pivot. Forget the rules. A lot of times we have these imaginary rules that we live by that society has conditioned us to believe. And realistically, as you get older, you realize that these rules really don't make any sense and you don't know who made these rules up. You think about it, and honestly, the people who made these rules up want to keep you in a box. We're not living in a box, okay? Like, we're not living by those made up rules. It's okay to change. There are people that started off as teachers and they become nurses. There's nurses that become estheticians. There's football players that become doctors. There's so many different people that like started off on one path and say, you know what, this isn't working anymore. Or, you know, I enjoyed this, but let me close this chapter. I'm ready to create this new chapter. And something I've always said all my life, I've always been inspired by people that could literally make those kind of changes, those big leaps. I just always thought that was amazing that they never were just set into one way of being or living because I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to commit to any path, but it's even harder to commit to one path and then leap from that one to another one. But the best people, the most successful people, the smartest people, the most fearless people do that. And I feel like I encourage all of us on this channel to be fearless. Like, this is your life. You can't sit on the sidelines and watch it play out. If you hate that job, it's time to look for another job. You know, people die from stress. We're not creating those kind of lives. We're creating lives that feel like a vacation. We're not building lives that we need to vacation from. I hate that mindset. You know, I hate that society, capitalism has put us in a position where we just feel like we have to suffer and we have to get a few hours, a few days away from our organized suffering that we call work, right? And going into society, and then you have to return back to what you were doing, which was creating you misery. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to step into something and have in mind what you thought it was going to be, find out what it is, and then once you find out what it is, I don't really like this. I can do without this. I think it takes a very strong person to admit that you went into something thinking it was one way, you find out it's another way, and you know what? I'm going to leave this to the people that this is for. And I'm talking about pivoting because I feel like I'm in a part in my life where I want to pivot. I don't know what that looks like for me right now. I just need God to guide me to where I need to go and how I need to go, but I will be obedient. And I know somebody will relate to this. If at least one person relates to this, then that will warm my heart because I know God is always using me to reach out to his people to help them, you know, articulate where they are. I think a lot of times we go through stuff and we have a hard time even articulating where we are and how we feel or why we feel how we feel. Um, so I think that God uses my voice. He gives me the words on the tongue to articulate intimate feelings that people don't know how to always express. And I think once you get to the clarity of saying how you actually feel out loud, then it really helps you move from there to your next steps. Because if you don't even know where you're at, it's hard to know where you're going, to be honest. Like, it just is. Like, how can you open your maps to go anywhere? Maps gives you directions based on where you are. Same difference. So I really want us to kind of sit and think about where we are on our journeys and what we're doing to create the life that we love or hate. And it may not just, you may not feel like you hate your life right now. Like, that's fine. That's good. We don't want you hating your life, right? Or I don't say what I don't want. We want you to love your life. But, you know, there's always things that we could do differently. Like, do you see yourself happy on the path that you are on for the next 5 to 10 years? If you keep going the way you're going in every avenue of your life for the next 5 or 10 years, do you feel like you're going to end up where you want to be? Now, that's a hard question to answer. I always say pause the video, journal it out if you have to, but let's really be honest with ourselves. If we had to keep going on the path that we're on right now for the next 5 or 10 years, will we really end up where we would want to be? Will we have the relationship we want? Romantic, platonic? Will we have the home we want? The condo you want? The car you want? The job you want? The career you want? The free time? The liberty, right? We as a society a lot of times have created plans, especially people that other people consider successful, they have committed to career paths a lot of times that have seemed very practical. Nothing's wrong with being practical. I have juggled with my own practicality, right? But realistically, we have to release the idea of being practical. I think we commit to, or we lean to that ideology because it's acceptable. People won't tell you, or people won't go against you if you give them practical ideas about choices that you make in your life. Now, if you tell them things that they consider unpractical, then they won't really support you a lot of times. They'll give you a little judgment, pushback, try to make you feel small or foolish for going against what everybody else does. But a lot of times you can't do what everybody else does because that's not the path that God has set out for you. So when you feel that pull on your spirit to make a change, to do things differently, go a different place, take a different route, apply for a new job, move, you know, it's a big deal because not everybody answers to that call. Not everybody really understands when it's happening. And some people will really hear that call or have that pull on their spirit for a long time and just ignore it because they're afraid to take the leap. You can't be so afraid to take the leap that you just stay where you are. There is no progress in just staying exactly where you are. And I really felt called to talk about it being okay to pivot because so many times we just feel shame about making a change that big. Like whatever the change is, a lot of times we feel like we have to show up in the way that we've been showing up. And if we don't, then we're going against who we were, or we're like letting people down. And we got to take away the responsibility that we're always taking about other people's feelings about our actions and decisions for our lives. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks about the decisions that you make for your life. If you feel like what you've been doing all this time is not working for you, it's okay to make that change. It's okay to stop answering the phone if you feel like you ain't got time to talk right now. It's okay for you to leave that job and go find another one. And I'm not saying to just up and leave a job with no resources, no money, no plan. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is when you seek, you shall find. And I think that God opens doors when we go knock on them. We will never know if a door is not open if we don't knock on it. You really got to open yourself up to change. It's okay. And I know a lot of times we don't want to deal with change. You don't want to move. People hate moving. I hate moving. Getting into another job, doing all that onboarding and all that stuff, getting to know people, new personalities, interviewing. All that stuff can be aggravating, but what's going to be more disheartening is staying in the same space and being in a space that God does not want you in because you're afraid to take that leap, because you're so married to your comfort zone that you won't take that leap to see what's on the other side. It's literally okay to pivot. Just release your attachments to where you are. Ask God to order your steps. Ask God what He really wants you to do. Like, God, if you really want me to make this change, whatever said change is, show me the way to go about it. And I promise you, God will meet you halfway. Like I said, I'm in a bed with my robe on. Like, I am so tired. I've been so tired. And I think I've been tired because I've had so much in my head and my heart. As we go on our healing journey and we learn different things, we have different experiences. Those different experiences and processing of feelings and emotions and traumas do take up a chunk of energy. And sometimes our body is coming down off that energy. Also, I feel like what we eat, how we live, how much we sleep also contributes. I definitely could be sleeping more. I definitely could be eating better. I am going to commit to eating better. I really want to go on a healing journey with my gut. I really want to heal my GI system. If you guys have any suggestions, I welcome them. Um, I'm definitely into health and wellness. So I really want to be the best version of myself in every way that includes holding myself accountable and being disciplined about what I put into my vessel because our body is our temple. And I really, really, really want to live a life that reflects that. I want to honor my vessel, like not in a vain way, in a way that God has blessed me with this vessel. This is my home on this plane. Outside of where I live, this vessel is my home. This is the space that I live in. The thoughts in my head, my stomach, I am one with those things. So I really, really, really want to take care of it the best way that I know how. You only get one vessel on this plane. I don't know how I got off on that tangent. But again, back to the root. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to make those changes. I encourage you guys to journal from this video and really ask God what to do next. Because I know a lot of us are in a season right now where we're just not satisfied. And it doesn't mean that you've been doing anything wrong this whole time. You've actually been doing everything right, probably. The reality is, when we have to make a change on the journey, it's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of invested energy, because you learn so much. The gems that you pick up in a journey, you don't leave them behind. You take them with you. And that's what you apply to every other place in your life, every other season, every other phase, every other dimension. You take that with you. So it's not a waste of time. Never feel like that. And be okay with accepting that things go a certain way for a reason. Everybody won't understand it. And some people have to get left behind. It just is what it is. It's not necessarily easy, but we have to be honest with ourselves and just be accountable for the life that we're creating. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope somebody got something from this. I kind of feel like I was a little bit all over the place, so I hope that it comes together in a way that somebody can definitely understand and connect. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.